Hey folks, Brendan here, and if you're watching this, you're probably preparing for the police recruitment process, or you might even be in the police recruitment process. And if you're preparing for the National Police Search Assessment Centre, this is a video that you absolutely need to watch, because you've probably got this pack in front of you that tells you that you should be acting naturally and just being yourself. That's what the College of Policing tells you. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's the biggest lie they could ever possibly share with you. It's the worst advice ever. And the reason why I'm making this video now is I've just done a session with a client on a one-to-one basis over Skype. He's been to the assessment centre before. He knows exactly what the role plays are going to be like, but he fell to pieces when he was faced with me, because I'd adopted the persona. I'd be an avatar for one of the role players, and I've got about 16 or 17 lines. I say them without any emotion whatsoever, in a very robotic way. Robotic, by the way, is the phrase that the College of Policing used in their own evaluation of their own assessment centre. 3 years ago they did an evaluation and they described it as a robotic process that doesn't get the best out of candidates, and yet they're still doing it. What on earth is going on? So anyway, my client described it as the weirdest conversation he hoped he'd never have again, but he's got to have it again. And he's still struggling a little bit because he's not adopting a structured approach to completely nail the role plays in particular in 5 minutes. He was being led by the role player, by me, as opposed to leading the role player. And the way to do this is through CUDSA. So for those of you, my clients, you'll know, or you should know, CUDSA inside and out. CUDSA stands for confront, understand, define and summarize, seek solutions, assess and monitor, and result. And if you follow the process, and if you follow everything that's within the CUDSA framework, using 5WH, TEDPI, discipline welfare training triangles, the EPS, the EPA, in terms of enforcement, prevention and advocacy in the solutions phase. And if you follow the set lines that I give you for the assess and monitor and result stage that you can use in every one of the role plays, trust me, you can use this phrase in every one of the role plays. It's this big template I give you. All you've got to do is fill in the gaps. But it's not going to come from just reading it or watching me say it or listening to me say it or even from writing it down. The only thing that's going to completely enable you to nail it, to get the highest score ever, is practice. And then practice more. And when you think you've practiced enough, no, you haven't. Practice even more. Practice, 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 practice. So my client that I've just been coaching over the past hour or so, he'd not been practicing enough. He admitted it. He's got his assessment centre in about 4 days' time. Oh my goodness. He knows exactly what he needs to do now. He's got his family coming down on Saturday to give him some support in a couple of days' time. Because of course you don't know what day this is being made on, do you? It's in a couple of days' time. And he's just going to practice, practice, practice. In my opinion, he's leaving it a little bit late. He should have been practicing weeks before, so that when you get to the assessment centre, you can just drive your template through, and the additional bits of information they give you in the 5-minute preparation stage, you can build that into your script, and you don't even have to think about it, because it's like riding a bike for you. You can do your 5WH, you can TEDPI the 5WH questions, you can do them all in a simple to complex way without even having to think about it. Now, this is no different from any of the skills that a police officer needs to have. Do you think the first time I arrested someone absolutely word perfect? No way. I'll tell you exactly what my first arrest was, and there's a lot of probationary officers who are really jealous of this first arrest. So it's January 1986. I've been operational for a couple of weeks. I've still got to pop my cherry, as they'd say, and get my first arrest under my belt. I'm out there with a traffic officer. I don't know why Sarge doubled me up with a traffic officer. I think it's his colleague gone sick, taken a rest day, something like that. Anyway, I got doubled up with this traffic officer, and then the call came in, thieves on. And you get a bit excited when the thieves on comes in, because it means that there's a burglar inside someone's house, and they're there for the taking. If the information is right, there's a burglar inside someone's house, we've just got to get there and arrest the individual, and it's a top job. It's one of the best arrests you can ever have. Well, no, there's better arrests, but it's a pretty good one as the first one. So we get to this address and the traffic officer tells me, right, you go around the back, I'll go around the front. As I'm running around the back, there he is. He's half hanging out of the window, an open window, downstairs window. So I grab hold of him, put him down on the deck, and then I'm just staring at him. And he's looking up at me and I'm looking down at him. And the traffic officer comes along and says, don't you think you need to say something to him? And I just went, yeah, you're under arrest. Well, aren't you going to tell him what for? Yeah, climbing out that window and being in that house. No, says the traffic officer. What do you need to arrest him for? Oh yeah, because you're doing burglary. And the guy on the floor, he's just laughing at me. He's just looking up at me going, you're new, aren't you? I said, yeah, you're my first arrest. And he went, oh, it's all right, mate. Anyway, you got me. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I don't think that was his accent, but I always put that accent on for people who are arrested. So I made a complete fool of myself, and when we got in the car, stuffed him in the back of the car, the traffic officer said again, do you want to try that arrest thing again? So I arrested him. I think I got it right, and then he said, and now the caution? Oh no, it went all pear-shaped again. You don't have to say something, but you might say something, and if you don't say it, no, hang on a minute, if you do say it, no. Anyway, the traffic officer stepped in and said, look, I'll do it. Now, that was a learning experience for me, which I carried with me for the rest of my career. I got back to the station and all the other officers were like, you lucky. You caught someone, you caught a burglar as your first arrest. You know, other probationary officers have got like someone who's stolen £2.50 worth of bread and milk from a shop as their first arrest, or a 14-year-old who's hit someone in the school playground. I got a burglar. It was about 15 years later until I arrested someone climbing out of someone's house again. But I think 2 burglars climbing out of a house in a 28-year career, that's pretty good going. So what did I learn from this? Well, what I learned from this is that if you've got a script that you need to be able to roll off your tongue, whether it's your arrest, the caution, drink drive procedure, or later on when I was a sergeant in the custody office booking people in, then when I became an inspector, reviewing the circumstances of people's detention, issuing Section 18(1) search authorities and all the other authorities, and the briefings to superintendents and the briefings to sergeants and the daily briefings to officers, all of that stuff just became a series of scripts. So it didn't matter how much pressure I was under, I could deliver that script, and it needed practice. Not practice in front of detainees, not practice in front of people who have been arrested, not practice in front of constables. It needed practice with my friends, my family, whoever would listen to me, whoever would be the person who pretended to be arrested. I would practice with them until it was absolutely word perfect. And it paid off, because a couple of years later, I was asked in Crown Court to repeat exactly what I said, and I didn't look at my statement, and the defence barrister said something, I thought they were being smart, about, officer, you didn't even read off your statement. How do we know that these are the exact words you used on the night? And I turned around to the jury, as tall as anything, as proud as anything, and said, because I've practiced this that many times, the way I arrest people, the way I caution people is exactly the same no matter what the circumstances are, because I've practiced this, I've said it hundreds of times, so it's word perfect. I can tell you under any circumstances, pouring down rain at 3 o'clock in the morning, people arguing in front of me, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, I will say exactly the same thing. Boom, no further questions, Your Honour. That was it. He wanted me off the box because I was too convincing. Anyway, I'm on my soapbox now. Back to role plays, back to the assessment centre. So one of the things that is a takeaway for you here is practice, folks. Have a model, a structure that you're going to use. Practice that structure, so on the day, in the 5 minutes you've got with the role player, you can take the lead, you can drive the agenda, and trust me, I've mapped out CUDSA and all its constituent parts against all of the competencies that you're going to be assessed against. You're going to absolutely nail it. The people who are absolutely obsessive about practicing, they're the ones who are getting 60, 70. The highest mark I've ever had is 86%. 86% at the assessment centre. The pass mark is 50. Actually, there's another lie from the College of Policing. The pass mark isn't always 50, because if too many people pass, they'll put you in a holding bay until such time as they may need you. So there's a lot of my clients who've got 50-something%. It's not been high enough to get to the next stage. You need to be aiming for 60 plus, folks. That's what's going to get you the pass that's going to get you through to the next stage. So folks, anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to find out more about those services, about CUDSA, about 5WH, about the TEDPI, and about all of those things that are going to enable you to ace your assessment centre, then check the links below. You'll find links to my online courses, my seminars. Get yourself to one of the seminars, by the way. Ask anyone in the Facebook group what the seminars are like. They are going to tell you they are the best thing ever. Challenging day, your head will be absolutely mashed and full by the end of it, but the practice you'll do after it will be first class. It's going to absolutely get you a pass. A good pass as well. You're not just aiming for 50, you're aiming for 60 something. So I mentioned the Facebook group as well. If you're not part of the Facebook group, then check out the link below. You can join over 7,000 members of my Facebook group. It's not just people who want to join the police. There's serving officers there. There are people who've gone through my process and are now serving officers, and they are now mentors for others. There are people from HR teams from police forces who are there to provide you with support, notably Avon, Somerset Police and Sussex Police, and some others that sort of lurk around a little bit. I know GMP, you've been a member of that group, although you won't admit it, you are. Anyway, there's other forces as well that are represented where they don't really say anything, they don't really partake, they're just sort of lurking. But they're dead welcome, I don't mind. So there you go, folks. Hope you found it useful. I look forward to seeing you in the Facebook group or at one of my seminars or one-to-one coaching sessions or just online on my online course. I shall see you soon. Until next time, bye-bye for now.